Hello and welcome to Don't Feed the Geeks, presented by the Long Island Comic Guys. I'm one of your hosts, Matt, aka Toy Story, and I'm here with my co-hosts TC, Jim, and our Dungeon Master, Bruce. Say hi, guys.
Hello. What's up, Matt?
Evening.
So this is episode today. We'll be talking about...
We're going to do movies tonight, right? What's it called? Pages to
From
movies?
the page to the screen.
There we go. I'm game with that.
Yeah.
So
sorry, what?
We'll go for it.
That was a valid first try, Matt.
That was really good, really good.
Valiant.
Oh, God. So first, it's a couple days after Christmas, so I thought we could talk about a little bit about any geek gifts that we got for the holidays.
Who's going to start it off? TC.
Jim, you started talking first.
Oh, okay. Well, what did I get? Well,
What didn't you get?
What didn't I didn't get that much. I know we posted it all over the place on Facebook and Instagram, but I did go to a beautiful sketch from one of our good friends, Billy Tucci. My wife got me. You guys could check it out on our social media pages. But it's basically a P-51 Mustang. It's one of my favorite aircrafts. I do fly sometimes, but it's one of my dreams to
One of your many hobbies.
One of the many hobbies. To fly a P-51, so it's always been my favorite aircraft. But it's basically, it's a World War II scene with some B-25s and some German fighters and a couple of P-51s. And the main P-51 has a pinup girl on the side of it of Supergirl. So it looks like it got hit by some gunfire, and then it's got the actual Supergirl underneath it, lifting up out of the sky. It's a pretty big piece. It's like 22 by 17, so it's
it's a very nice piece.
It looked like he put two pages together. Right?
He did. And what's nice was the detail that he put into it. So
Didn't he put your name on the plane?
my name's on the plane. Long Island Comic Guys is on the side of one of the other aircrafts. The gift was originally supposed to be my anniversary present back in November, but it didn't get done in time. So Tucci put on one of the tail numbers. It was our anniversary date of 11/14, so that's on one of the tail numbers. But what's cool about it is he actually used DC paper. So the boards were, it says DC on it. So it was kind of a cool little special added feature to it. And then I also got a first appearance of the Wonder Twins. Nice little book. Seeing that they are going to be doing a TV show in the next couple of months. So we'll see how that book takes off.
What was the grade on that one?
It was a 9.4.
Nice.
There's not many out there. There was one on eBay,
Really?
and that was the only one.
Jeez.
Wow.
And it's a weird book. It's like one of those Saturday afternoon
Saturday morning cartoons.
But it was also a Saturday morning cartoon comic book. So it's a
Well, didn't they join like Super Friends or something?
Yeah, it was a Super Friends comic book. But it was a nice little book I got.
Very nice.
Cool.
9.4 is a weird pet peeve for me, but if that's the highest one,
That's the highest one. I know it is. I know.
If anybody knows of a 9.8 there, it's like, let TC know because he's going to snatch it up.
That's it. See?
Did your kids get anything cool, geek related?
Not really.
No.
They got their normal, Legos and.
Oh, by the way, I have toys for them here.
Yeah,
Christmas presents.
All right.
If you want them. Or we can bring
Like they need more toys. But thank you.
They might not be toys.
Oh, well, thank you.
They could be clothes, but they're toys.
TC, what'd you end up getting?
Nothing super big like that. I mean, the biggest thing that I got is probably one of the gifts I bought for myself, which was that Amanda Connor Power Girl, which I did post on our social media accounts.
Yes, you did.
Pretty cool. I got an email. So there, anyone who's into any stuff from Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, and I think anyone else in their group, I think Paul Mounts is another guy who's associated with, it's called Peeper Films. So I follow them, and it came up that they were selling some Amanda Connor original art. I was like, oh, let me see what it is. It's probably going to be super expensive. I mean, a lot of it was like the covers, obviously. Amanda's a huge artist, so those were like in the couple thousands of dollars. But some of the pages were reasonable. But then I saw the Power Girl, and I was like, that's actually a pretty good price. Like, I've got to snatch that up. So plus there's I got like a discount code too. So I was like,
oh, nice.
It worked out. Yeah.
And you made sure to send us the link after you bought it.
Yeah. Because I was worried. I was like, I will buy this, and then I would tell everyone else.
and I noticed that Jimmy
did,
posted on our Instagram page.
He gave us thanks. He said there was going to be more stuff on the way. So yeah, Jimmy's a pretty cool guy. I've met him a couple times. we got to talk to him a good amount that first time they came to Eternal Con, which I got the other piece of artwork from her. That
one of the rare pieces that she does at conventions.
She's starting to do it more, but they're charging a lot more because they're worried about the people who flip it.
Absolutely.
So I think we've spoken multiple times about how like they saw someone like a really quick head sketch. They put it up for like $250, and I think she did that for free. And they're like, yeah, she's no longer going to do art at Comic-Con.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Can't blame her for doing that.
For everyone else. But some of the other stuff I got was I don't know if you guys know the company Stance. They make like NBA socks, but they also make like comic book related ones. I got these cool Spidey and Cap socks. Awesome for my wife. I got the 22nd in the Star Wars series ornaments. I have all 22 Star Wars ornaments. Got that from Mom. It was Boba Fett. Awesome. And I can't believe I didn't realize they hadn't done Boba Fett yet. There's multiple characters they've done more than once. And I was like, how have they not done Boba Fett yet?
I know because they sell some of these at the conventions. Didn't they do a Boba Fett because I thought I have a Boba Fett that I picked up from
They probably
New York
did.
Comic-Con.
It just probably wasn't part of like the series.
Okay.
So there's like specific ones in the series. I mean, they do like there's probably like 200 Star Wars ornaments that they've done, a Hallmark specifically, but some of them just aren't part of this main
that's
series.
cool.
And then I got it's funny. So every year, like I get my wife this like Mickey and Minnie ornament too. Like whatever the New Year's Mickey and Minnie is, I'll go and get that, and that'll be like a stocking stuffer gift. But what's funny is like I saw this Batman, like it's like a peeker. Like where it's like motion activated, and it'll say if you're peeking by the presents, it'll say something. So I saw this Batman one. I was like, this is awesome. I was like, I'm gonna pick this one up, and I randomly realized I don't have any Batman ornaments. And then when I opened my gifts up Christmas morning, my wife also got me one of those too. I was like, all right, I guess we're gonna have to bring one of these back. Another awesome thing I got from my brother. They live not too far from Royal Comics, so he got me a $100 gift card to Royal Comics. I was like, all right,
really
thank you very much.
Nice.
I was like, this is amazing. I was like, I'm gonna be honest, it's already spent. I was like, I opened it, it's already spent. And then
We gotta go there one Wednesday soon.
Yeah, we do need to do another Wednesday there, and I'd really like to have Mike sit down and do a podcast with us too. I think that'd be awesome.
That'd be cool.
So, yeah, he'd definitely be probably the first guy from a comic book shop that I'd like to sit down with. But I got a Batman mug. It changes. It does like this cool like Batman like artwork. It starts off black with like a bat symbol on it. When you put like something hot in it, like a coffee mug, you put like hot coffee in there, it like turns, and then you can see like the whole like Batman and like the pow bam or whatever on the backside. That was nice. And then like last year, my aunt decided to follow up her present with paying for whatever big Comic-Con I go to this year, which turns out it's probably going to be $45 because I think we're going to Heroes Con. So I was like, all right, yeah, it works out for her.
There you go.
But yeah, that kind of wraps up the gifts. What
Very
about
nice.
you guys?
I got diddly squat. What about you, Bruce?
I got squat either. Our refrigerator conked out on Thanksgiving, so that was $1,800 Christmas present for the house.
There you go. Good stuff.
Do what you got to do.
You didn't get anything, Matt. Come on.
I got some Ewok socks.
Okay. There you go.
Add that in there.
All right.
Yeah, that's about it.
But you got all right. So he got one non-geek thing you were telling us about. So
Yeah.
I mean, you can talk about that, right?
Yeah, I got some Iron Maiden tickets.
There you
No
go.
big deal.
Yeah, it's Iron Maiden.
For
Iron
fans that
Maiden
might be in
tickets,
the
right
middle.
on.
It's related to Iron Man.
Yeah.
Come on, yeah.
I think that's one of the songs on the Iron Man soundtrack.
There you go. That's something. Now I feel better.
I also got Step Brothers socks, which were awesome. If you've ever seen the movie Step Brothers, this is like one has John C. Reilly and the other one has Will Ferrell. They're hilarious. I was
pretty
like, these
awesome.
are amazing. Those are from my sister-in-law. It was pretty cool.
You gonna see that Sherlock movie?
So Polari was telling me. So I actually saw Aquaman last night, but I was like, ooh, like a close second was this Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly Sherlock Holmes movie. And he's like, it's currently has a 6 on Rotten Tomatoes.
A 6?
So I read an article this morning that people are walking out of that theater, that movie, because it's
Really?
so horrible.
Oh my god.
Bad. So I don't know. It's comicbook.com. I was on one of their
upsetting.
Facebook postings. So we'll see.
Step Brothers was so good.
You know, it's funny too because I feel like I hadn't seen any promotion about it until like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it was brand new.
And it's just like that's really weird for like a Will Ferrell movie not being
Yeah, the last couple of weeks is I seem to be seeing their commercial like every
Everywhere,
single
right?
commercial break. It's crazy.
I think the only time I saw it first time was the previews. That was the only time I've seen it was for Aquaman.
I saw it on TV
We
a
didn't
couple
even
times.
see that.
But
Interesting. But yeah, I heard it. People are not happy with it, so we'll see. Maybe it's one of those DVD movies.
Yeah, I feel
Or
like
don't
a
watch
lot
at
of his
all.
movies are like that.
Yeah.
all right, so today we're going to be talking about comic book adaptations to film. We're going to talk about some of our favorites, our least favorites, and again, dig into a little deeper about what we like and what we don't like about how these studios and these directors make these movies. So to start off, I guess we'll talk about Aquaman because I think we all just saw it very recently. So let's get our thoughts on
Except
it.
for Bruce.
Yeah, except for Bruce. But
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
kindly given us the permission to spoil it for us.
That's all right. Yeah, I plan on seeing it anyway, so anything you talk about, it won't spoil it for me.
Yeah, so it'll probably be at least a month by the time we release this specific episode.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I think it's-
we'll say spoiler alert once if you haven't seen it, but a month is more than enough time to get out there and see a comic book.
And
If
spoiler
you can see
alert,
it.
spoiler alert for every movie we're about to talk about. if you haven't seen it yet.
So every other movie you had at least 2 years.
Yeah, or more.
All right.
So who wants
So
to?
Aquaman.
Jim's our Aquaman guy, of
Yeah,
course.
Jim,
Yeah.
I think you should really kick
right,
this
all
off.
right.
Jim's the Aquaman.
He rode into that
You're
theater
probably the
on
only person
on the,
who I would ever know.
on
I
the
would
Dolphins.
say I was on
Yeah.
the
Their
Dolphins.
favorite character.
It is my favorite character. Now, I like the movie. It was better than I thought it was going to be.
So you had low expectations.
I did have low expectations because it's the DC movie. I mean, they haven't been up there with
Yeah.
great movies compared to
Which we'll get into.
Marvel.
They have poor reputation right now.
Say again.
I said they have a poor reputation.
They do.
Right now.
They're great with the DC's great with their animation. Movies not so good, but this was up there. This for me. On a scale to 10, I'd give it a nice solid 8 for myself. The graphics, the CG on it were fantastic. The underwater shots were fantastic. The actors were great.
Yeah,
I
it
think-
didn't look like over CGI'd like a lot of movies.
It didn't. There were certain parts of it that you can totally tell that there was a screen behind him. I know there was a scene where, right after the tidal wave came in and the truck, you had Mara and then you had Aquaman walking, and you can tell they were on a screen.
Yeah.
Like there was a screen in the background.
Well, some things you can't escape. You can't escape it really. But
You would think in this time that they could try to fix that a little bit, but there's certain parts of it you did see that.
Yeah.
There were some hokey parts into it that I thought was like
bad humor.
Bad humor, yeah. I mentioned it. We were talking about this before, but there's a scene where you have an octopus banging on drums. I thought that was hokey. Some people liked it. I thought it was a little hokey.
I actually did like that.
It's a little
I
different,
chuckled. Yeah.
but no, I liked it.
It definitely reminded me of Little Mermaid. So I didn't realize it wasn't the Little Mermaid until like an hour and a half in.
That's funny. I mean, the actors just they blew it out.
Everybody's
of the park.
great.
It was fantastic. Not one person.
Willem Dafoe was awesome.
Great, and it's funny, seeing that he was in this the Spider-Man franchise, and he came on over to the DC side. I think he pulled it up. Both movies great. He gets better, I think.
Yeah, he's awesome. You like Jason Momoa?
Love Jason Momoa as Aquaman. I thought, when it was first announced him being Aquaman, I hated the idea. It doesn't look like the clean-cut Aquaman that I grew up with. The blonde hair, the short, but Jason, fantastic. I don't think they could have gotten a better person. I think he fits that Aquaman profile to a T, to where we're at now, and in this age of comic books. I'd like to see him, doing it more. I know that they're going to be doing another Aquaman. There was talk about doing a sequel to this. I hope it goes through because I know they were pulling back some of the movies DC was.
Oh yeah, because actors are quitting.
Yeah.
Well, apparently Jason Momoa recently said that Henry Cavill's going to be playing Superman in every movie.
He said that. Yeah, I just read that.
He's like,
So where did that rumor come from? Where that's?
I mean, so that no one has officially said one way or the other he's not going
Did
to be
he ever
in
say
it.
something himself?
I mean, no, he made it. He literally made a post like, a
Recently.
weird post, after the news came out, and it's just like he shows himself like holding like a Superman like toy or a shirt or a hat. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's just like, all right, I guess he's still Superman. So, until further notice, I'm just assuming he is.
I do like him as Superman.
Yeah,
I do
I think
too.
he's good enough. I mean, he seems to genuinely enjoy it. I mean, I don't want to get off that topic of Aquaman.
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
But what I wanted to say about what you were saying is how you said they couldn't have got a better person. Is I think for how he represents that character, if you would have got someone to do like the classic I don't think it would have been a movie people would have wanted to see.
True.
No, it was a
Because
cool-
he's
it
like
was
a
a-
very like mediocre, like kind of vanilla character. It's like almost like Captain America underwater.
Right.
And it's
Right.
just like I think he adds like a little bit of spice to the character.
Puts a little
that
rough
makes
edge on it.
It would
It's
make
Khal
it a little
Drogo.
bit more interesting. Yeah.
And which I recently just started. I just started watching Game of Thrones.
Oh, had you never
again.
watched it?
I know I have, but I just over this Christmas break, I just said, let me watch. And I just finished the first season, and seeing him in that first season to this, I mean, it's a huge change. I mean,
Yeah.
his body and everything else.
You like his body?
But he's got as an Aquaman, he's got a nice, and it's funny now because you see on the news of him actually playing his role as Aquaman, even not on the movie screen. Like I just recently, he photobombed a wedding in yesterday or 2 days ago in Hawaii, where
Yep,
he
I saw that.
walked behind a couple getting pictures taken with the trident on the beach.
Yeah,
And
I saw that.
People had no idea he was there.
That's funny.
And he was going and poking, with it. But this guy's carrying a trident everywhere he's going
Yeah,
nowadays.
that's interesting that he has it with him all the time.
Yeah.
Crazy. But going back, great movie. I can't wait for another one.
I really enjoyed it.
I don't know, your thoughts?
I'd give it a 7 out of 10,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is really good for me, I think.
Yeah, I was kind of in the same boat. Like I think it's about as good as I expected it to be. I didn't really go in with low expectations. I felt like it was like almost a desperation thing for DC, where it had to kind of be a good movie. Like it couldn't be like a bomb. So I knew listen, like it's
Another bomb.
Yeah, it had to be at least like a 6 or 7 movie, and I think it's about a 7. If I had to give it like a specific, I'd say like maybe like a 6-8. I think there was a lot of good things about it. I do think he did a good job.
I wasn't bored at all.
Yeah,
No, not at all.
Mara's absolutely gorgeous. Like every scene she was in, I was just like, wow. Black Manta was incredible. Loved him, his character. Probably my favorite character in the entire movie, to be honest with you.
Black Manta looks
Black Manta,
fantastic.
he
The
was
suit
so
is
cool.
amazing.
I mean,
I wanted to see more of him.
the one thing is he seems like even like when he got like that upgrade, that he wasn't really still a match for Aquaman. So it's like it'll be interesting to see like how he comes back and takes like round 3 at this point with how he's gonna take down Aquaman. But yeah, I thought it was surprisingly really well done. I thought that most of the actors, I don't really like the guy Patrick Wilson, Ocean Master, in general. I think he did okay. I think like that's kind of his personality, where he seems like kind of a weaselly,
fit that role,
snakish
right.
guy. So even at the end, where it seems like maybe he could redeem himself, maybe not. But I mean, like William Dafoe playing vocal. William Dafoe is fantastic. I've never seen William Dafoe play a role where it's just like, oh, William Dafoe ruined this movie. It's like, no, he's
Yeah,
just
no,
if he
it's-
shows up for something, it's gonna be awesome. And I mean, for me, it was awesome to see Dolph Lundgren. I'm a big fan of his from the '80s. I mean, if they made this movie 20 years ago, he would have been my pick to be Aquaman personally. But
He would have been the blonde headed.
yeah, he would have been like that,
Yep.
that guy. But I think he could have probably did a little bit of the kind of like rough edged version that Momoa did, but they probably wouldn't have done that back then. But yeah, it was a good movie. I mean, again, the CGI stuff looked really good. There wasn't too many scenes where it's just like it's obvious. I mean, you gotta
Yeah,
realize
I felt like in Batman and Superman, and I think Wonder Woman too, a lot of stuff you could tell was blatantly digital.
Well, I think the biggest thing about this movie, like, it was obviously not rushed as much as those were.
Yeah,
like I think
definitely
they were like, we have some time. Justice League is over. Let's just take our time and make this movie, kind of thing. And that's how it came off to me. And I think when you rush it, you can tell. Like,
Yeah.
like all those movies
Absolutely.
where they rush into it, it's just like this seems like it's kind of forced. And you chop up the movie when you don't make it in like the right order, and like you have to go back and reshoot scenes. You just don't have that same flow as like when you were doing it originally. I think personally. I mean, like I don't have any professional background on that, but I don't think it translates well personally.
The one scene that was like the most memorable is him coming back in his green outfit.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The classic Aquaman look, like it was unbelievable. That was pretty memorable for me watching that movie. 'Cause
Being a
it was
fan,
just
right?
fantastic. Yeah, it was great to see that. It was nice that they went back and they
Threw
did
it in
that.
there, at
Threw it in
least.
there.
Yeah, and we're going to talk more about like adaptations and stuff like that, and that's one of the things where you're being true to character. And like when you don't kind of try to take your own liberties with stuff too much, especially with comic book movies, I think that's the thing that really rubs people the wrong way. It's just like, well, like let's have him have like a blue costume, or like listen, it's like it's orange goldish. It's like that's what it should be, and green. I was like, don't go out there. Well, he's gonna be purple and indigo. I was like, what?
I'm all for different takes and interpretations on a character and a story, but like stupid stuff like that, like changing the costume, like there's no need for that. It doesn't add or take away anything from the story.
Right.
It's just like, oh well, there's no reason Superman should have this red underwear. I was like, is there any reason he really shouldn't have it though? I mean, everyone recognizes it. I was like, is it so important to you? It's like, oh no, because I want this to be my Superman. I want to because everyone who's making these movies, they want to make a name for themselves. Like, I don't think you're going to do that by changing, like drastically changing movies. It's like you're not. These are already established things. You can't create your own, world out of something that's already established.
Right.
So, I mean, we're going to be talking about that for a while. So I'll go off on a rant when it gets to that.
So Aquaman, all around good.
Good.
Awesome.
2 fins up.
Yeah.
A fin and a half.
Oh my God. I give it a fin and a half.
Fin and a half, yeah. I think that's fair.
So getting into our topic today, let's start off talking about some of our favorite movies. Not just what we like about them, but like in terms of adaptations based on the stories that they represent, what they did well, maybe what they didn't do well, but we were okay with, but we were still okay with. So
I think some of that too is what I think you're trying to allude to is like some of the movies when we've seen it a long time ago. It's movies when we were a kid. So what I was trying to think of too is like, when you're looking at that through like a younger person's eye, it's a little bit different too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I did take that into account, but then I was thinking about how I've seen those movies recently, and it's just like I feel like the movies that stand the test of time are always going to be in my favorite list. Even like when I try to look at them, through like what's the word I'm looking for? Like trying to be, I don't know.
It'll come to you.
Yeah.
You mean like thinking different of them when you were a kid?
Well, trying to be like where non-biased. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
I was trying to be non-biased of like getting that like emotional attachment to it from when you were young, and like trying to watch it again as an adult, and like trying to pick out all the bad things about it. And like the movies on my list that from when I was a kid is like I've done that with those movies, and they're so fantastic. Mm-hmm. So,
all right,
Matt, you why don't you kick this off? This is your.
So I got about there's so many out there now, but I tried to limit it to like 5 or 6 movies.
Yeah, I think I have 8.
Yeah. So at the top of mine, I got Superman 1978, and I think that's probably on most of our lists, right?
Yeah.
That's what kicked really in terms of the movie world. I mean, the whole slogan was "You'll believe a man can fly." So I mean,
I was like that was like 20 years before I was born. Almost.
I mean, that is
an old movie, but it's still a great movie. I can still watch it and still enjoy it.
Absolutely. I saw it when I was a kid with my parents. I rewatched it every couple of years, and it's still. I mean,
whatever anyone here at the table have that in their least favorite, either that one.
Not that one.
Yeah,
not that one.
I think both 1 and 2, which 2 might be even better because it was a little bit more action sequencey.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Those. I mean, I'm a huge Superman guy, so even then I felt like I might be a little bit biased. But like really thinking about it, I was like, there was plenty of cheesy stuff, but I think it was intentionally cheesy though.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff now where it's just like it's cheesy, but like I don't think they're intending it to be as cheesy. Like the whole Clark Kent thing. Like I don't think there's anyone. The only one who came close to it was that Superman Returns movie. No one's ever played a better Clark Kent than Christopher Reeve. Like his just Clark Kent, and then like his transformation into Superman. It's just like it doesn't even seem like the same person.
Yeah,
right.
Like those movies are just fantastic and well done.
It's a great Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
You would never guess that it's like Clark Kent, Superman. No way. It's like you got that nerdy reporter, and then you get that.
And that's the thing where it's like even though it's like it's the glasses. It's like no, it's not even the glass. Like there's no way like in a million years you would think that guy is Superman.
Yeah. This is a good point to what we were talking about before. Remember with Spider-Man and like Andrew Garfield.
Right. Yeah.
So we could talk about that.
Yeah. So we were saying, like Andrew Garfield, like, so I actually think in terms of Spider-Man movies, I really like those. Like, the second one was a little bit weaker, but I think they've been like, all in all, the best Spider-Man movies.
Are you talking about comparing them to the Maguire movies?
I'm talking about all the Spider-Man
all of them.
movies,
Okay, I agree.
The new ones included. The biggest problem I have is, and I do think the new one's very good, and I think he's a good Spider-Man. I think he was a little bit of a better Spider-Man, but he was a very non-traditional. I think he was a very non-traditional Peter Parker. He was way too cool, suave, and confident. Which I
like
think
Spider-Man is. but
Exactly.
it's not supposed to bleed into Peter Parker.
Yeah,
which
so
I feel
Peter
like they
Parker
totally
is
did
supposed to
in
be
that
very unsure because exactly, Peter Parker and Spider-Man is supposed to be the same way as Clark Kent and Superman, where it doesn't even matter with the costume on. They just have completely different personalities, and I think that was like the original creators. That's what they're trying to portray to the kids or whoever was reading that. It's like you take these glasses off, you become confident, and like you feel like you can be the hero, you can do the big thing and stuff like that. And I think that was the message they were probably trying to convey. Have you ever seen Kill Bill?
Yeah.
Of course.
There's a great end. Like my favorite part of the movie, even if I don't watch the whole movie, the scene where she finally sees Bill. What's his name? The guy.
David Carradine.
David Carradine.
Yeah.
And he's like, I've always liked comics, and he's like, my favorite superhero is Superman. And he goes on this thing,
Yes.
and he's basically describing, he's like, how Clark Kent is Superman's reflection on the human race, weak. So, and it's like, it's just great. Like anyone who's never seen that, just go and watch that scene if you're a comic book fan. But it was a really great description of like Superman. But what were we talking about? Oh, favorite movies. All right, so we all think Superman's good. Superman 2. I mean, now I know Superman 3 and 4
Oh my goodness.
aren't the greatest, but there's
Four
so
was
many
great. Come on,
there's
four
so
was-
many
Oh my
really
God,
bad
4
ones.
was so bad.
What was that? Solar Man? What was that?
Nuclear Man. That was so bad.
Yeah, I mean, they were bad, but
that's on my worst list.
there's a lot of really bad ones out there that I thought about those where it's just like, no, there's a lot of things I've seen that's a lot worse than that.
There's a lot of bad comic book movies.
There is a
Now
lot
that I
of
think
bad
about
ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean you got to think at the time too. Like people didn't take these very seriously either.
No, but
Like
recently
studios wouldn't give you backing or money to do these. Like especially outside of a huge name, like they would give you money for a Superman or a Batman, but someone comes in with Spider-Man and they're like. Or you come in with like, oh, we want to make an Aquaman movie. I was like, well, you should probably go home. You should probably get in your pool. I mean, think about that. In the 70s, 80s, if someone said they wanted to make an Aquaman movie, no way. They would never have done it.
I mean, look, they in what 90s they tried to do a TV show and that sucked. I don't know if you guys ever
I've
saw
never
the
seen
pilot
that.
to that.
No.
It was horrible.
That wasn't even 90s. That was like 2000.
What was it?
Yeah.
I've
actually
seen it
saw-
once and I was
Yeah, it was.
horrible.
They just did a pilot.
They only went to a pilot.
So it was so weird because did you ever watch Smallville?
No.
The guy who plays Green Arrow on it was going to be Aquaman. I was just like,
Yes.
all right, so they're never going to bring these two shows together, clearly. And then his dad was like Lou Diamond Phillips, who I've always randomly liked because I was, a fan of 80s movies. But yeah, and then Ving Rhames was randomly in it, but it's like you never see him do anything Aquaman related. Like I think he barely goes in the water. I was just like, yeah, this isn't going to work.
It was bad. It was bad.
But I think what's your next movie? I feel like the
Winter
next movie is
Soldier.
pretty obvious. All right.
Which is another.
Are you
very
doing any
obvious one, I
order?
think. Huh?
So wait, I'm gonna.
I don't know.
look at your list
I'm not
here.
sure about an order.
So
honestly.
you don't have the '89 Batman on there?
I don't. I do love it, but
All right.
it's not on my top.
All right. Well, you go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about Winter Soldier.
That's his list.
I mean, I've watched Winter Soldier 100 times. It's consistently the only Marvel movie that I'm like, I never get bored of watching. I could probably watch it a couple days in a row.
It's-
Each day.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Honestly.
interesting.
I think Winter Soldier. I'm gonna agree with you 100%. It's definitely their best movie, start to finish, like overall movie. Like if you were to take like the
Yeah,
superheroes,
it's a movie, too.
If you take the superhero element out of it and just say, give these people random names, people would still watch that. Like that could easily be like a Jason Bourne movie or something like that. It's just a fantastic movie. Regardless of the superheroes, I agree with you.
Okay.
Why? What are your thoughts, Jim? You seem unsure.
I liked it. I haven't seen it enough. I've seen it a couple times. I'm not. You've probably seen it.
I think I've watched
Thousands
10
of
times more than he did.
It's not one of those movies that I bought that I have on my iTunes. I'm not
Only
sure
buys
why.
Aquaman pilots.
Yes, that's it. No, I bought all the movies that have come out on my iTunes, and I watch them when I'm traveling or whatever. But that's one I haven't.
Check it out again.
I recently saw it. I'm going to say probably 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Because I found it on one of my drives. It's a good movie. It's okay. It's
Anything specific you weren't crazy about?
no, just it's. I don't know. I don't have enough. I don't have enough on it to talk about. I haven't seen it enough, I guess.
Scarlett
Compare-
Johansson also looks incredible in that movie.
She does. Compared to all the other movies that I mean, it's not one I've seen a lot of.
All right.
But yeah, Scarlett Johansson. I mean, she's hot in any of those movies.
Oh yeah.
That movie in particular, I feel like there's an extra level though.
Okay. All right.
Just saying. I think part of that is too though, because I don't think we put it on our list, but Captain America, Chris Evans just does a great job with that character. And I would have so originally, I don't know if you guys know this, but the guy John Krasinski, who was originally from The Office, he plays like Jim. He was the first person cast to play Captain America,
I actually didn't know that.
which I was like, that's actually pretty cool. Like, people were like, oh, it's terrible. I was like, I think he might do an all right job. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure he'll bulk up. And then apparently he had to drop out, and then they said, well, we're going to go with Chris Evans. And I was like, well, he absolutely looks like Captain America. I was like, but I was a little worried because of like the whole, Human Torch thing. He was like a clown. I was like, I don't know if he can do like the whole Captain America thing. But I mean, I feel like he's almost single-handedly, like as much as Robert Downey Jr.
for their
He's just, and I think that's a credit to, the Marvel and Disney. They just nail who they get to play these characters. And it's like,
Even like Thor.
it's going to be, it's going to be a big hit to Marvel when they lose Chris Evans. I feel like he's literally kind of like the heart and soul of the Marvel universe, and he really shows it. Like, definitely, like I know me and you both spoke about it. I love Captain America: First Avenger. Really like that movie. I like the history.
One of my tops too.
But Winter Soldier, he's just he's kind of, you get the man at a time thing, and he's kind of struggling with it, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic.
So let's talk about the first Captain America, though, because a lot of people do not like that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
A lot of people
I think it's 'cause a lot of people.
I don't know why.
People think it's very boring, from what I understand.
Boring. I don't think there were any boring scenes in.
Well, you got to remember, there's a lot of people who probably don't know what World War II is in this world. So, I mean, I think it's a great movie. I've always been kind of interested in the Red Skull. Even in, like, I remember watching that like made-for-TV movie on like Channel 9 with Captain America and the Red Skull. I was like, this is just a cool character. Like, he just looks so cool. Like, I've always liked him, and I think I can't remember his name right now. Who played Johann Schmidt? I can remember the character's name of Red Skull. But Matt, when he
Agent Smith from Matrix,
Agent Smith. Everyone knows. I've seen him in a ton of movies, but
and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but he does a great job. Bucky's great in it. I mean, that's just a great. That girl, the British girl, fantastic. Also, Haley Atwell. Hugo Weaving. Yes,
That's right.
Haley Atwell. She played Agent Carter. Fantastic. Everything about that movie. It had a good, wholesome feel, and like, I mean, maybe it just wasn't enough action for people. You go from like Iron Man, where he's got all this cool technology, and then you go back in time to Captain America, and it's like kind of like a heart of a hero more than like, a mate, like a billionaire hero.
That was one of my top favorites.
Yeah,
One of my top
agree.
fives was Captain America. Great movie, great storyline. I think it fits perfectly within the whole Marvel scheme of movies.
I mean, so far, Matt, you've gotten 2 off my list.
Yeah, let's just say if we have them. So the next one I have, which I would guess nobody else has, is Spider-Man 2. Tobey Maguire.
It's not on my favorite list.
Yep,
it's not on my least favorite list either. It's probably the best out of the Tobey Maguire movies.
I think because when I was a kid, when I saw that, and I've seen it so many times.
And
just
that's
when I
the
was a
thing
kid.
where I was telling
Spider-Man
you.
2, huh?
I absolutely love it.
really like it too, but I have the first Spider-Man.
First one, really?
With the Green Goblin, William Dafoe.
And that's like,
It's like I think for me that kind of just edged out Spider-Man 2 just by a little bit, but they're like right. You had before like 6.87 for Aquaman. It's like that would be like me for the first 2 Spider-Mans. It's like the first one would be like an 8, and the second one would probably be like a 7.9. I was like, okay.
yeah, I feel like Kirsten Dunst really kills those movies for me. I've never been a big fan of her overall. I think they've never gotten the right Mary Jane in my
horrible
opinion.
actress. Actually. I'm sorry.
I'm sure.
gonna hear this.
I'm sure she's a nice person if she listens to this.
Sorry, Kirsten.
Nothing against you personally. I mean, I'm sure she never wanted to be involved with it ever again either. But I don't think she helped. I think Tobey Maguire was just okay. He was like, maybe he wasn't good. He wasn't bad. I mean, Willem Dafoe, fantastic. Also, Otto Octavius was good too. I would give the edge probably obviously to Willem Dafoe.
For the villains, I don't think there could have been anybody better for Green Goblin.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that was
Doc
absolutely-
Ock.
And to think about like how old he was at that time too, to think about that, it was like just crazy.
Yeah.
And
Well, even Aquaman movie, he's old. Like, he's old.
he actually looks younger in Aquaman than he does in Green
they
Goblin
did
and
some work on
Spider-Man. Yeah. But who's the one who James Franco? I didn't enjoy James Franco in those either. He was a little bit more tolerable in the first one, and I think that's my big problem with the second one. He's just so like annoying.
Yeah.
He's
In
very
the second
whiny.
one. Yeah, and it's just like I do like him in some stuff, but that was just not one of them. And then I just thought those movies were okay. There is one specifically on my least favorite list, and it's one of those three movies.
Yeah, me too.
What else do you got for your faves?
Watchmen.
Yeah, that's another one where I didn't hate it, didn't love it.
Did you guys read the book?
I did not read.
I've skimmed through it. I haven't really.
It's one of my favorites. I read it like
It's pretty true to the book.
it is
right?
the most accurate representation of a comic I've seen in a movie.
That doesn't.
I've never read the book.
It really
Never
no, it
read the
doesn't.
book.
No, you're right. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good.
Yeah.
but it's one of the few things that what's his face? Bad. The Batman
Zack
Superman
Snyder?
director. Yeah, Zack Snyder. Just like he nailed that movie. I think at
He
least
did a great job on 3/4 of Superman.
Yeah.
Man of Steel.
Yeah. And like 10% of Batman Superman, if even.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah, but I absolutely love Watchmen. If anybody hasn't seen it, read the comic first, I would say.
Guess I'm going to read the comic.
Yeah, you should,
All right.
for sure.
The comic's probably a little bit better because it's so they try to go slightly graphic on the movie, but the comic is really graphic, like
Yes.
the graphicness of the comic. Like, and I'm talking like mature reader.
And but that came out like a novel, right? Like a
and
graphic novel.
It
wasn't
came out in issues. It did.
Was it issues?
12 issues, but it's considered a graphic novel now.
Is it on the Marvel universe?
highly
It's a
doubt
DC book.
Oh, DC is no,
Highly doubt it.
It might
probably.
be. It could be.
We'll have to
It
look
could
that
be
up.
on
Probably
there.
just
That
the
might be
first
one of the
issue.
few things that would actually be on there. The DC Universe thing. Well, we may need to get to that at the end of this episode.
Yeah, let's talk about
too.
that at the end, actually.
All right, that's cool. Watchmen, good stuff.
Yeah. And then my last one is Logan, actually.
Logan.
I'm curious, very curious what you guys thought of that. I've heard such split things.
Well, tell us what
didn't
you
hate
like
it.
about it so much first.
I mean, besides the whole rated R thing, which was cool, to like that part of it was cool. How dark and gritty and violent they got to make him. I just thought that was a cool side to Wolverine to see that we hadn't gotten to see before. Agree? Disagree? No.
No. I mean, the fact that they made it rated R and they made him super violent. I do think it was a pretty good movie. I think it's one of those movies that wouldn't make either list for me because there's stuff that I really like and then there's stuff that I don't really like and it just kind of falls in maybe like a 6 or 7 kind of range for me.
I just found the
where
story
it could
very
be even better. My main problem with that is the girl. The kid, I don't.
Oh, you didn't like her?
I don't think she was great. I think I'm in the minority who's like, oh, I thought she was fantastic. I was just like, I thought she was okay. I was like, she got really annoying at parts. I mean, I think he did absolutely fantastic job. Patrick Stewart, that might have been his
Oh my God.
best performance as Professor
that was
X in that movie.
unbelievable.
But then they just got kind of like off the rail, and I think a part of the problem is because of the rights. Like they can't tell that story the way it is. You see, my big problem was I was going into that kind of hoping to hear the old man Logan story.
Right.
And if I would have heard that story, it would have been fantastic. But 90% of those characters are owned by Marvel
Exactly.
or Universal or someone else. So, I mean, for what they were allowed to do and what they could legally do, I think they did a pretty good job. Him
Even
fighting
though it
him,
wasn't true to
his
the
younger
comics.
self too was just like I didn't really love that. What would have been really great to me is if after he kind of defeated him that first time, if the second time they came out with somebody for him to fight, if it was Sabretooth, that would have brought that movie to a whole new level for me. And then that might have been like a 9 at that point for me, like an 8 or a 9.
I haven't seen the movie in so long.
I think that was the first movie I saw with you guys.
Logan?
Logan. I think it was one of the first movies when I started hanging out with
Oh,
you
as
guys.
a group, really?
It's a long time ago. When did that movie
wow.
come out? Do we even know?
2 years ago?
No, I feel like you
2017?
probably were coming
Logan,
with us before that.
2017. Oh, all right. So it's been
No,
I remember.
with Spider-Man and other stuff with us.
I remember coming out of that movie and I didn't like it.
Really?
And I've only seen it once. That was the only time I've seen.
I think
that
I
movie.
had very, very low expectations for it because I knew that they couldn't do the correct adaptation for Old Man Logan. because of the whole thing with the characters, whatever, they were going a different direction. So I think because I noticed that with me when I have very low expectations and I'm very surprised, I end up really liking it.
Actually, I saw it with you, Bruce.
Did you?
Yeah, we saw it at the by the mall. Yep.
So you never.
Yep. I didn't see it
that
with
didn't
you
even
guys.
happen.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with it. I was trying to think who I saw it with.
That's fair.
Couldn't remember.
I've only seen it once, and
Yeah,
That's fine.
That's
That's totally
good enough
fine.
for me.
So it was definitely the first movie you saw with us, though. Right?
All right.
I think I kind of agree with both of you guys really on that.
And I could totally see your points too.
I think that's why, and this is again off topic, which I think it's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. I want Disney to get the rights to all this stuff, and it's like everyone's like, oh well, now they're gonna be a monopoly. I was like, yeah, but for this stuff, I don't care. Like, I want to see my comic book movies with all the characters that should be in it, and that's why I want Venom to fail. I was like, I'm not going to pay any money. Like, I'll watch it when it's on TV or HBO or something like that because I don't want them to directly get the money. It's like Venom needs to be in the world with Spider-Man. I was like, I don't want to see Venom fighting his own cast of characters. I was like, no, I don't want that. I was like, that's why, I hope now that Disney has this, I hope they do an Old Man Logan somewhere down the road where it's true to character, where he's fighting the Hulk, where he's, he runs into all these big people. It's just that would be fantastic. To see that on screen would be amazing.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see Logan go with that Old Man Logan. Because it was a great storyline.
Yeah, they should definitely do that. And they can do it. It doesn't even have to be in continuity. They can just do that on its own.
Yeah.
Whenever they figure out who they're going to have as their Logan, or they can even get an older guy. Mm-hmm. Help for that. I would bring Hugh Jackman back for it. Don't bring Hugh Jackman back for this.
There's talk of Keanu Reeves being Wolverine.
Are you serious? You know who else they're talking about?
Who?
Harry Potter.
Oh, Daniel Radcliffe?
No.
Yes.
Oh my God.
He's well. Listen. First of all, if they're going to do it, they need to do it. The only way to top Hugh Jackman, and even if you do get a character, it's still going to be tough following up Hugh Jackman. You have to go true to the character as possible. He's got to be a little guy. He's got to be hairy, and he's got to be built like a truck. And
I have a feeling if they did an X-Men Avengers thing, he would do it. Hugh Jackman.
But I think we spoke about this multiple times. They shouldn't do that though.
You don't think so?
We don't. Not for an ongoing thing. Because what do you get? You get him one movie, 2 movies, maybe. The guy's 45 years old. It's like they want 10 years out of this person. Whoever they're going to get. They didn't buy X-Men to make 2 movies.
Yeah, right.
They want to make billions of dollars because they spent billions of dollars on this Fox acquisition.
True. Yeah, you're right.
So who knows? The movie might not come out till 2020.
You're right.
An X-Men movie, if that. Do you expect to see that guy in movies till 2030?
True. All right. I didn't hear about the Daniel Radcliffe.
It's just one of those rumors too. Who knows how true it is? I mean, Keanu Reeves, I'd be very disappointed in it as well. But you never know.
Moving on.
Yeah, so do you guys want to fill in some of your favorites that I didn't hit? Because I'm sure I did not hit a lot.
Yeah, I had to add one to the list. I'm surprised nobody said it. I got Deadpool.
Do you?
Yeah. I really loved it. I think I probably watched it a dozen times.
I'd give you that. It was fun.
I thought Ryan Reynolds nailed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
So better than his Green Lantern. I was like, Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. I didn't really care.
I don't think that was Ryan Reynolds' fault, though. I think Ryan Reynolds was a pretty good Green Lantern. I think they were just god-awful movies.
Yeah, but he definitely nailed it as Deadpool.
We'll talk about this, but I didn't think Green Lantern was that bad.
Oh, no.
Oh boy!
Well, you're wrong.
Okay,
but
that's your opinion.
No, Deadpool is amazing.
Just the humor and the storyline is I didn't know too much about Deadpool, until I heard that the movie was coming out, and then I got a little bit familiar with it, and then they had that little bit in what was that Wolverine one. Where they were the mercenaries.
Oh, where you see him partially. Yeah, that was
when he was still
movie,
completely human.
Yeah.
With his swords.
You're talking about when he had the katanas.
I think it was just called
his mouth was sewed shut.
Yeah.
X-Men Origins.
Wolverine
Origins,
X-Men
right? But he wasn't referred to as Deadpool in that at all.
I think they refer to him as Wade Wilson. Though.
Yeah,
they do refer to him as that.
Yeah, his name was Wade Wilson.
I think he's also referred to as Weapon 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So when I saw that, it's like, oh, Wade Wilson, that's Deadpool. It's like. That's pretty cool. It's he does have the mouth, and he does, he talks like he's the shit, and he with those swords is like he is. But yeah, that's definitely one of my top ones. And also the other one too. And I know we had talked this outside of discussion. I was like, I loved Doctor Strange.
I really like Doctor Strange.
I thought that was
that was like a fringe movie for me too. It's just like there's a couple things, small things I think that bothered me a little bit about it, but overall it's a really good movie. Like Dormammu, like me and Matt were literally just talking about like the whole Dormammu thing. It's just like that. I think that could have been a great movie because my biggest like pet peeve about this stuff, and I don't know if we're going to talk about this later on, is when they go so off the rails with like and cheaping out like. Rise of the Silver Surfer, Galactus is a cloud. Like that Green Lantern movie, Parallax is a cloud. Dormammu's, a glorified
Space
cloud with that.
Space cloud.
True.
I was just it's just some sparkly lights.
We've spent so much money, like we're just going to cheap out now, and it's just like that's the thing that really bothers me about Doctor Strange. Kind of at the end, I mean, it's very cool, and I also feel like they kind of stole a lot of that movie from Inception, also. Which is just kind of like, I've just recently seen this a couple years ago. But I mean, like to apply it to like a Marvel movie was awesome. I think he's fantastic. He's a great actor. He does a good job as Stephen Strange.
Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
He's on point as Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I mean, his interaction, like I hope there's so much more interaction between him and Tony Stark because they're just fantastic with each other.
Yeah, there has to be because there's like he's like involved in like so many other like story arcs. Like Thor and Iron Man and stuff. It's like he's got his hands like in like everything.
No, I'm really excited.
Being the Sorcerer Supreme, I guess he is.
He pretty much knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Technically, right?
I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him.
Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I definitely have a few.
Yeah, let's go.
How we haven't talked about Batman '89. I mean, that was
on my list.
That was literally part of my origin story. Like, one of the first movies I ever saw. And again, like I have to take that nostalgia value out of it. When you watch it again. But like, Michael Keaton does a fantastic job as Batman.
I liked him better as the Vulture.
I mean, he does a great job as that. I feel like Michael Keaton would prefer to play a villain. Like everyone wants to play a villain. Villain's always the fun character to do. Like it's always the character that people are going to remember. I mean, like just think about Jack Nicholson's Joker. No one has topped that yet.
No,
I don't. If Heath Ledger didn't die, he did a great job. He had his own interpretation of it. It wasn't better than Jack Nicholson. He would not have won an Academy Award. They did that kind of as like a we feel bad this guy kind of died thing. But, I mean, Vicky Vale, she was okay. Like, Alfred, you have Harvey Dent as Billy D. Williams. Yeah. There's no one cool. Like, I would have loved to have seen him wound up being Two-Face. Like, that would have been awesome. Like, that movie is just fantastic, though. And, I think they were probably a little couple, too, with, like, their time. But, they made sure what they did was, like, real. Everything they did, they spent the money on the real stuff. And they didn't cheap out on it. Like everything you see in that movie, it looks like, there's no green screens and not a lot of that. I mean, there might be some here or there, but like that movie is like what you see is what you get kind of thing. Like the sets were awesome. It's just, I mean, it's one of the best, forget even like comic book movies. I think it's one of the best movies ever.
And it's got the comic book look to it too.
Yes,
like
exactly.
out of the page.
Gotham looks very
very dark, very
and that's the big thing about
weird shaped buildings and everything.
Right. And that's what makes that movie supreme over all the ones that are out now. Because the newer movies now, they've got all this technology.
They don't make you feel anything like that.
Exactly. They look fake.
It's gothic. It's that gothic, like Gotham City look.
Right. And what's great about that movie, when you see it, because I got to see that on the big screen, I mean, you could actually put your hands out and feel like a lot of that. Like, close your eyes. You could feel that because the way it looked and sounded, it looked like a true comic book movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, agreed 100% with that. Anyone not like Batman '89? We're going to think about replacing you on this podcast. My next one would have to be the first Iron Man movie. I mean, without that, Robert Downey's performance, we probably wouldn't have a Marvel universe. I think that's what
started it.
They had maybe the Incredible Hulk in the back pocket that they were going to do afterwards, but I mean, like. Once Iron Man came out, Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, it was an okay movie. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But when you see Tony Stark at the end of that go to General Ross, I was like, oh my god! I was like,
I forgot about that.
This is too that's the first time. And then even in the first Iron Man, Nick Cage, Nick Fury comes out, Samuel L. Jackson. I was like, oh my God. Like, and then there's two movies where you're like, oh, these two things just linked up. Like that's incredible.
They're now in a triangle.
Yeah.
It was like,
was it the end of Captain America 1 where they had the first Avengers type of cutscene? Remember he put the folder on the table and it said like
the Avengers Initiative.
I remember freaking out when I saw that.
I
think it was Captain America.
I think it was Captain America.
I'm struggling to remember what the end. Oh no! Well, the end scene is in the first Avengers where he wakes up. He wakes up in like the big city and he runs into Times Square. And then
no, I meant the post credit.
Nick Fury. I think that is the post credit, isn't it?
The post credit scene was at Iron Man, the Avenger Initiative. No, that was Iron Man 2. Because Black Widow was in it.
All right, I'll fact check.
She was doing the evaluation.
We're gonna have to look that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Iron Man 2 because Black Widow did the evaluation with Tony Stark. Iron Man recommended for the Avengers Initiative, but Tony Stark wasn't, and he was like, "Wait a minute!" It was like,
Yeah, I mean, Robert Downey Jr. They couldn't have gotten a better person to play that. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
You can't get.
I remember like they were talking about making an Iron Man movie for a while, and I feel like I was probably in the minority of people who were excited about that because I randomly liked the cartoon as a kid. And the first name that ever got thrown out there was Tom Cruise, and I was like, I don't hate Tom Cruise, especially at that time. I was like, he'll do an okay job. And then when they said Robert Downey Jr., I was like, oh my God, he is Tony Stark. Like Tony Stark's like, recovering alcoholic, he's a mess. And like, that's what Robert Downey Jr. was. He redeemed himself in this role. Like, he's turned his career completely 180. And, good for him. I hope it stays that way. But it started the MCU. So, I have to have that in my feed. And, I'll always watch that movie too. Yeah. Like that's like the rewatchability is huge on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you guys? You guys have any other favorites?
I'm gonna throw one out there. It's kind of a non-traditional type of one, but 300. I mean,
wow, I didn't even think about that. Okay. I was thinking very superhero-ish. So that's actually probably the best Zack Snyder adaptation.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
I mean, I remember reading the comic and then seeing the movie it blew me away.
Yeah.
The war scenes, the fighting, it was
would definitely
extremely
be on my list,
graphic. Yeah. Definitely not a kid movie.
No.
And the way it was written, it's a Frank Miller story. So, seeing a Frank Miller come to the screen, it's unbelievable. And I think before that was even, Sin City.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable to see the Frank Miller stuff up on a screen. Because his drawings are nothing like anybody else's, I feel. I think it's very, what's that?
In his heyday.
Yeah. 300 is mine. I mean, that's probably one of my top.
Nice, that's good.
That's a great movie. Again, like when we were talking about movies that are just great. That's one. I think that's like, if not the first, maybe the second movie I've ever seen with my wife. Mm-hmm. And I came out of there, I was like, oh my God. I was like, and you come out of that movie and you were like hyped. Like, I want to go fight someone right now. I was like, that was just amazing. Like everyone, like, and no one was a big actor. Like no one. Like there's people now that are big. Like Gerard Butler is kind of like a household name now. Lena Headey, she's Cersei. Yep. But everyone else from that movie is like, you kind of know. Magneto was also in it, right?
Yeah.
Who's the guy who plays young Magneto?
McKellen.
No, not him.
Young Magneto. Oh,
young Magneto.
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, Michael Fassbender was like one of those guys too. And like now they're names, but back then they weren't. And it's just like, you have this movie of no name people and it's just like fantastic. Like every scene is amazing. Yeah. The lines, like that they would say is like, that one scene where he's like, oh, we'll send like 1,000,000 arrows at you. He's like, then we'll fight in the shade. I was like, that's, and then they're laughing at it. It's like, ha, we're fighting in the shade. Yeah. I was just like, it's an awesome movie. I mean, it's definitely a guy's movie. I mean, I'm sure there's girls who can enjoy it. Like, the whole sprayed on six packs became
you got all those buff guys.
But that's a great pick. If I would have thought of that would have been on my favorite list as well.
I'm going to throw another one out there for you. Blade.
Ooh.
I mean, Wesley Snipes.
I haven't seen that movie in so long.
I don't know if they'll be able to get a better
I hope you're referring to the first one.
It's got to be the first one.
I've never seen the other ones.
The second one had, what's his name? Ryan Reynolds was in the second one.
Yeah, he was.
Think about that one.
What's his name? Hellboy.
Well, that's another one on my list was Hellboy. So you brought that one out.
I can't. Oh my goodness, I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of his name.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
He was in
Blade 2.
Blade 2?
Yeah, he was in Blade 2.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm sorry to say I've never seen Blade 2 or 3.
Yeah. You could miss him.
Yeah, you didn't.
First
you
Blade
didn't
was
miss anything.
just
I've watched that multiple times. That's probably, what was that, 1998?
1998. Very good.
Yeah. Is it really?
Yeah.
That's my superpower. I know when most movies came out, or the year most movies came out. I feel like that was like right in the cusp where like, you know, people were kind of dipping their toe in the superhero movie again. Yeah. And then especially like with something like that, remember how we were talking like they would never do, you know, an Aquaman movie then. It's like, I feel like that was kind of like in the gray area where it's like, you know, we had this kind of black superhero, you know, Wesley Snipes is still kind of hot at the time. Like, you know, let's do him this half vampire. Cause it hit, like the thing about Blade is it hits a lot of different boxes.
It does.
You know, we got a black superhero. We've got a vampire movie. You know, it's kind of horror. It's, you know, it's comics. It's like
superhero.
You know,
And you got to say he did beat out Black Panther as being the first superhero movie.
And you know, people forget about that a lot.
People do forget about that.
It's like, oh, he's the first black superhero ever. I was like, what about Blade? It's like fantastic. And you know, I think Black Panther was a great movie too. But I think because they try to, you know, add that extra thing to it, it gets a little overhyped. But you know, we'll talk about that as we dive in deeper.
And can I throw one more out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. We said Hellboy. I mean, the first Hellboy, not the second one, but the first one. I mean, Ron Perlman. I mean, again, here's a character you would never think that they would put up on the screen.
Yeah.
There he is.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got a new movie coming out.
I'm excited for that.
Which looks really good. Different actor. Not sure how I feel about him yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw the trailer for that. I was like,
I don't like his face, but
I got an issue with his face.
It does look a little off.
We'll wait for that one. But, you know,
Too much chin.
Ron Perlman, Hellboy. Great story.
I really liked the first one a lot. The second one was so bad. He was very good. I think that they didn't have enough money to make those movies great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It
was lacking.
I think it would have been like Abe Sapien. That guy was fantastic.
Fantastic.
He's great.
Aquaman type.
Yeah. Ron Perlman was fantastic. Selma Blair. Jeffrey Tambor, who I think he's in a little hot water now. I don't know if he got into trouble for something. I love Jeffrey Tambor as an actor.
Yeah.
Like I'm not backing up any personal decisions he makes, but like anything I've ever seen him in, he's just fantastic. And he's like an awesome comic relief in that. And he gets better and better as that first movie goes on. But you know, overall, like the villain's interesting. Like that, what's the guy's name? The Russian dictator who like basically overthrew
Stalin.
No. He wasn't a dictator. Rasputin, yeah.
Yes.
He basically like ended the first Russian royalty, but he's a very interesting character. So yeah, I can get behind you with that being like a favorite movie. It doesn't it's in that gray area for me where it's like it's not bad, it's not super good either though.
Yeah.
It's like it's a good movie though.
That was it for me. Besides the other ones, anybody? You got any more there? Anybody else?
Got everything, I think.
But I think this is going to be our favorite portion, is when we're going to deep dive into our least favorites.
So I think there's one we could probably all agree on. Like right off the bat. Can anybody guess?
And Jim probably loves this movie.
Yeah, probably. Go ahead.
Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll agree with you on that one.
I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's the one I hate the most on my list, though.
Yeah, no, I've got others that I hate.
It was in that
even more.
okay. It was on the
No, it wasn't in the okay.
I didn't think
what's below okay? So
Bad.
there's that great. There's that great. Yeah,
It was bad. It wasn't god awful.
right.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I think she was okay as Harley. Honestly, I think Will Smith did a good job
Will Smith
as
was
good
the best
shot
part of that
as
movie.
Deadshot. Mm-hmm. Everyone else, I could have done without. No one, like the Joker was terrible.
I hated that so much.
Terrible.
So
Yeah.
I
Again,
mean,
somebody else's adaptation of this, and they just
I don't know
Too
how
bad.
Yeah.
deep we'll go into this, but I just want to put it out there now. The way to save DC is they need to just, and again, me and Matt like touched upon this real quick. They need to do a Flashpoint storyline and fix all the mistakes. It's basically a
real.
clean slate.
Yeah.
And it's just, you
Yeah.
know what you can wipe out Lex Luthor, get Bryan Cranston in there. Everyone else wants him to be Bryan Cranston. They met with him at one point. Like maybe it's secret. Maybe they are planning on bringing him in as real Lex, and this guy was like his son. You got to get rid of this Joker. Have him be Jason Todd. And you know what? there's so much evidence out there that he is supposed to be Jason Todd, and then the fact that people realized it, Zack Snyder got mad and he decided to change it. It's like he needs to be Jason Todd, and
agreed.
then they bring like a real Joker. Let this other guy who they're making a single Joker movie for, let Joaquin Phoenix be the real Joker.
Yeah.
I was like, that'll work right in, and then they'll fix everything at that point. But yeah, I mean, Suicide Squad and the Joker, Jared Leto Joker. I was like, if he doesn't turn out being a fake Joker, I'm not going to see a lot of those
terrible
movies.
Movie. Terrible.
Worse yet, Fantastic Four.
Which one?
2015.
That's what the kids.
Oh, yeah, the
is that the one with the
I think
kids?
you and I are the
So
only ones who've seen
I
that.
can't
Horrible.
add anything to this conversation because I have never and will never see this movie. So you guys go. Feel
I'm
free
right
to talk
with
about
you.
it.
I've only
TC,
seen it
yeah.
once, and I can only pick out certain parts of it, and those parts were horrible.
I went only.
It's a
because-
forgettable movie.
Yeah,
Did you pay money to see it?
my friends paid for it. That's the only reason I went.
That's probably the only way that I would see it.
God,
I
awful.
think I blacked it all out. I don't have any memory of. I just remember it was being horrible, and them going to different worlds. I just
It's a shame because like the kids are like they're good actors
no
and other stuff.
no
Other
who
stuff.
who
You know, like Michael B. Jordan.
what was he in? What did he do?
It's Killmonger.
Oh, okay. Well, he's better now, but back then, no. That girl.
What's his face.
Mara.
Miles Teller.
I'm a big fan of
Yeah, she's
Mara.
good. Kate
Mara.
She's from House of Cards. She's very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miles Teller's in a lot of
I
stuff.
think this movie was purposely made to hold on to the rights longer. Because what I heard happen was they were kind of coming towards the end of their contract. So I think they have a certain amount of time, maybe let's call it 10 years, to hold on to a property. If they're not in production or doing something,
They lose it.
They lose the rights to that. So
they did it to get another.
They put out this crappy movie, so they had leverage against Marvel.
Crappy's being nice.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible, horrible.
What else you guys got?
I have to say, on my list here, this might be my least favorite superhero movie of all time, and there's only one that kind of comes close, and it's Spider-Man 3 is the worst superhero movie I've ever seen.
It's the one with Venom, right?
Yeah, it's
Oh.
just
And Sandman.
They completely ruined. And you know what?
Absolutely awful.
Sandman's the only one who's not so terrible. I mean, that whole emo scene with Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. I mean, Kirsten Dunst is at her absolute worst in that movie. You know, when James Franco's Harry Osborn has his amnesia, it's just god awful.
Yeah, what were you thinking?
They have Topher Grace being Venom, which is just like I almost walked out of that movie and asked for my money back, and it was horrible. And I just
Completely agree.
I don't think I've ever watched it again. Like even the end battle scene where it's just like I've seen that on TV and I'm just like, click.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
He
cool.
just clicked a remote.
The news
for
is
anybody
on.
who couldn't see.
But yeah, that I think the only thing that comes close to me that's almost as bad as that is the 2003 Hulk movie, which they had good actors in. I actually really like Eric Bana. I don't think he did a bad job as Bruce Banner, which is weird that the names are so similar. But that movie, like the whole thing with the father and his like weird Hulk animals, and like how he kind of turned into a Hulk. What's the actor's name that plays the father? It's he's in 48 Hours. Come on, guys, we're gonna do this.
Oh, I know. What
Nick
is his-
Nolte.
Nick Nolte.
Nick
Yeah,
Nolte.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
there
look
you
that
go.
up. So, guys, I was going to IMDb and I was going to look it up, and I remembered. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
he's
that was
just
pretty
terrible.
bad.
The guy who plays Ross is okay. I'm a big fan of him. Sam Elliott, like I've always liked him. Like I think it wasn't Liv Tyler. Liv Tyler was the second movie. I can't think of her name. The girl from Labyrinth plays Betty.
Oh,
Betty. Yeah,
great movie, by the way.
yeah. Labyrinth, great movie.
We don't know. He's
But
Googling it.
and this one I'm not going to remember. Jennifer Connelly.
There we go.
Jennifer Connelly plays Betty. Just a fun fact here: anyone who's collecting comic books right now, the Wonder Woman variant covers that Jenny Frison is doing, I believe is her name. There's no way she isn't using Jennifer Connelly as a reference, because every single one she does looks
they look
exactly
like
like Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, so that's like one of my super bad ones. I mean, you guys know that, I hate Batman vs. Superman. It's probably not the worst one on my list here because there are a lot of bad ones. Batman and Robin, the last like Jerry Schumacher or whatever movie that they made was pretty terrible. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I think, made like $30 million for that movie. And I don't even think they made that much money. I mean, the costumes look like kind of to point, but like that's a point where they got in movies where they're just like, we're just going to make this as cheesy as possible. We're going to have
they progressively got worse.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes if they started using CG for a lot of that, and that's when it just started getting bad.
And they used a lot of vehicles and stuff like that. That movie was basically like, we don't care how good it is. We're going to make like $1 billion on toys. Because I remember when that movie came out, there was at least like 75 different action figures.
Yeah.
You had Ice Batman, you had Poison Ivy Batman, you had Hockey Batman.
I'm going to back things up just a bit because I'm actually quite surprised. It just hit me just now that nobody else has brought up like another great, awesome movies. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, we were so like focused on superhero. I think that we were lacking.
I'm thinking like now going in my
adaptation.
head. Yeah, it is. I mean, those books came out before, right?
That first one. So I really like the first two. The third one really bad. The first one is just an all in all really great movie.
The third one was that when they went back in time to the Japanese and it was just horrible.
I'm sorry to say that I have only seen the first one. So
the second one was fun. That's good. Vanilla Ice's Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. It got a little bit ridiculous, but I still enjoy that one. I don't know if it would be like in my favorite category. I think TMNT, the first one, would probably be in my favorite category.
Sorry, didn't mean to go backwards, but that popped in my head.
That's something that we should definitely bring up. Yeah,
I mean, that was crazy. I'm going to throw it out there. One of the least favorites one that I did not like was the last Thor. Ragnarok.
Really?
I actually really enjoyed Ragnarok.
I like that one.
I hate the second one.
That's actually on my list.
On my list is
the
Thor
second one, too?
Because I love number one.
Number one was fantastic. Two was I
can see why a lot of people didn't like number one. I personally did, but like I could see like that being like a 6 or 7 to a lot of people. Like the first one.
Yeah, it's a fun, goofy movie. Yeah, but I really like
the Ragnarok. I loved reading the
World War Hulk.
Fantastic. I mean, that Hulk. I kind of was basing that movie off of that series, and I probably shouldn't have. But if they would have done a Hulk movie.
They can't. That's the problem.
And they can't, right?
Because of the way the rights were set up with Universal, they can have him in movies, but he can't do his own storylines. He can't do any solo movies.
That's what kind of ruined it for me. That's why it's on my list of.
I mean, I think that's a really good movie.
Good reason.
That's probably like a 7 for me. Like Thor Ragnarok. I mean, because it's actually they're trying to make it so funny. It's like borderline comedy.
Mm-hmm. To me, 7 is still good.
Yeah, no, and I think it's good. I mean, there's very few movies here. Like, Batman 89 is like a movie that I would justify as like a 10. Mm-hmm. Superman 1 is like a 9, 8, 10 to me. I mean, Iron Man's like a 10, or like maybe at least like a 9, 9, These movies, 7, they're still good. I still watch them, but it's not like, I'm not going to put in my favorite category.
What would you give Spider-Man 3?
0.5.
I was going to say a 1.
I thought about 1 and I was just like, I think that's unfair. That's probably unfair to the Hulk from 2003 because I did actually like some of the acting that.
Yeah,
maybe Hulk 2003 is like a 1.5.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Thor, I just couldn't. I couldn't get into it.
I think you're probably one of those people like, and that was something we're going to talk about later, where it's like, movies that people love that you don't like, or movies that you like that other people don't really like. Did we want to just throw any more?
I mean, I got one
out there. Yeah, go.
I got Supergirl. I thought that was really bad. Helen Slater.
No,
he's right. That's a terrible movie.
That's a terrible movie.
Did you like it?
So I liked it because it had Helen Slater in it.
Oh, I like Helen Slater. I think she's great, but that movie was just
storyline sucked.
Yeah, I was watching it and I was reading. So I was like, "Wait, when does Superman come?" I was like, "Oh, I saw him in a poster. There's Jimmy Olsen. Is Superman going to be in the movie soon?"
I mean, wait, it's like, okay.
What if she battles like a witch or something like that?
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. It's like this giant mountain appears out of nowhere. And I was like, okay, it was like...
I don't even think it'd be fair to judge that movie right now because I don't think I've seen it in 20 years.
I've seen it within probably the last 2 or 3 years.
That's crazy.
But it's but I can't put on my list because it wasn't me.
Someone's phone.
Yeah, I can't put on my list because of Helen Slater. Why don't you turn off your darn phone?
Yeah.
Just because of Helen Slater. I'm sorry.
No, I think Bruce is right. You're in the minority there.
Damn it.
We can't just because someone's pretty, we can't not give it a bad movie.
And I got another one. I'm surprised neither one of you had put this out here.
Is it Green Lantern or Catwoman or what's the other one?
Catwoman.
I didn't even think of Catwoman. Good going, Toy Story. No, I was gonna say Daredevil.
You know what? And I'm just gonna go out there with that right now. It's actually one of those movies where, like, I guess Jim doesn't really like Ragnarok, and most people do. I actually don't mind the Daredevil movie.
I also don't.
Like, I think it was an okay
It's not
movie.
great by
Like,
any
I
means.
think
It's not great.
they definitely kind of crucified it a lot more than it should have been. And it's not a great movie, but I think it's like, again, like that's probably like a 6 for me, or a 6.5.
Okay. Interesting.
I've watched it a couple of times, and I tried to like it, and I was like, I kind of liked Bullseye,
Yeah, I do
you
too.
know. But
And
as
I don't
far
thi-
as
honestly, I think he was a better Daredevil than he was a Batman.
Yeah.
I'll have
agree
to
with you.
agree with you there. It's
Yeah.
like I did not like him as Batman.
And again, I don't know if that was his fault. Like my biggest problems with Batman versus Superman is Batman's like he was good. I was like, no, he wasn't. I was like, and it's not his fault. It's like the lines he's delivering. I was like, those aren't his lines. It's just so much stuff that Batman wouldn't say or do. And my biggest pet peeve with that Batman versus Superman movie. I'm sorry, I know we're cutting off this Daredevil conversation. Is I've always wanted to see Superman fight Doomsday. And I was like, you will make so much money if you just have this Death of Superman movie. And they didn't do that. They're like, oh, we're going to bring in Frank Miller's Darkest Night. So they brought like 15 movies in the DC together
Yeah.
and threw it into that Batman versus Superman movie. And like, oh, wow, it was so cool. Like, what part of it? Like, which part did you think was great?
Yeah, they could have done their own.
It was
Superman movie.
So that's a big
like
problem.
you
I
said.
so
think,
disappointing.
and
that's the thing we were talking about with Aquaman. Like Aquaman, they took their time. Like this is definitely a rushed movie. They wanted to get as much. They're like, listen, we're gonna make Justice League next year, no matter what. Get as much as you can into this movie, and we don't care what it looks like.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like.
Yep. Agreed. Totally agreed.
Well, that's a problem with adaptations when you try and when you try and pick and choose from different storylines and shove it all into one movie, instead of just focusing on one thing.
And you're basically saying like that Aquaman movie is an adaptation of a specific line from the New 52.
New 52 is the whole 52 from start to
And
finish.
it's only like that one line, right? Like they're not trying to bring in like a storyline from like 20 years ago.
Nope.
And
Which
that's
is good.
which
they
is
should stick
which
to.
which was nice.
Which is what they should do. Like
Right.
do one story from start to finish. Don't try to like take 7 different stories and combine them together. I mean, like think about it. It's like there's an apocalypse thing in Batman vs Superman. There's Flashpoint in Batman vs Superman. There's Frank Miller's story,
Dark Knight.
and Batman vs
There's
Superman.
Death of Superman.
There's Death of Superman and Batman vs Superman. Like that's 4 right there. And then when does Wonder Woman come into this at all? Like maybe during Death of Superman storyline. I think she really has like no place being in here. Like why was she even?
she shouldn't have been in there. But
Yeah,
that was
like,
just
because
I guess
he
to
had
tie
a
it in.
photo.
Yeah.
Like she had to go in person and get a photo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just so much
Had a lot of
bad
wrongs.
stuff, combined. And was there even ever a storyline where Batman versus Superman is going head to head in a comic? I might not have read it. There probably is, but I don't remember it.
They've always butted heads.
Yeah.
But not to that degree of in the movie.
Sorry, Bruce, I cut off the Daredevil's.
No, that's okay. That's all right.
Daredevil's okay.
No, I mean, listen, it's totally your opinion, and a lot of this stuff is our opinion. So
What else you got?
I got Superman 4.
Yeah.
Quest for Peace. I just thought that was so bad from start to finish.
it's not the.
I don't have anything nice
So
to say
if
about
you're
it.
thinking about Nuclear Man, is it nuclear or nuclear? Whatever it is. He's actually not the worst part of this movie. Do you know who the worst part of this movie is?
Who's the worst part of the movie? Or what is the worst part of the movie?
The guy from 2.5 Men plays like Lex Luthor's nephew.
Oh, that's right.
What?
John Cryer.
Yes,
Yes.
John Cryer
Yes.
is like, and he is like, I have no idea what he's doing in any of these movies.
Oh, I
he was
forgot
just
about him.
he was just popular at the time. Like, we'll throw him in. And you know what he's going to be now? He's going to be Lex Luthor in Supergirl, or like the Superman. I think so. The story is now that the Supergirl TV show. Yeah, that's what he looked like in it. He just showed me a picture. Google the picture.
That's a picture of Ducky.
Yeah,
from what was that? Pretty in Pink.
yeah, one of those.
Oh my
But
God.
it was like that was the worst part. I actually always liked like the new female editor who was kind of into Clark, like the blonde-haired girl. I was like, I always kind of had a crush on her. So like that's why that movie was like a 5-5 for me, even though it was very bad.
Oh, what's Hemingway is her last name?
Yeah, you're right. I think it is Hemingway. Wow, that is a good pull. That is impressive.
He's good like that sometimes. That's why he's here. That's
And
why
I
he's here.
actually looked up her name the other day because I was like, what was her name again? But yeah, like even the third one for me, I was like, it was cheesy, but Richard Pryor was kind of funny, and it was like the third one was okay to me. But yeah, Superman 4 wasn't great.
All right, so bouncing off of this, do you guys have any movies that are generally loved by most people, but that you do not like?
I mean, I think I kind of talked.
So we probably talked about some already.
with
but-
Daredevil.
Yeah.
And you know, Green Lantern. I think a lot of people like hate on that movie. I don't think Ryan Reynolds did a bad job. I mean, the girl was terrible. His current wife, she's a terrible actress.
Yes, agreed.
So I think she hurt that movie. The guy who was the bad guy, I mean, he wasn't the right bad guy for that. They should have focused on Sinestro from the beginning.
I think they should have left that whole paradox out. That should have never been. I think it would have been just great if Sinestro was in it, like those two duking it out.
Well, I think you need to set it up for like that to be the eventual. And the whole thing, like my biggest thing is like the clouds. It's like, why are we having clouds as bad people? Like, are there like is that the worst villain in the director world? Clouds. Like the people in California, it must be this. It's like, oh my God, what's the worst thing that could ever happen? It could get cloudy. You're right. Let's make a cloud a villain. And it's just like, come on. I was like,
No money in the budget.
Yeah, I mean, like Kilowog is great. Michael Clark Duncan, who I love,
Awesome.
God rest his soul, the guy. He was fantastic as Kilowog. Like probably my favorite Green Lantern. Like overall, like the Green Lanterns. I hate the Green Lanterns in general. I don't like Hal Jordan. I think Ryan Reynolds did a good job. I like Guy Gardner. I like Jon Stewart. Who's the other guy? Like Zach randomly likes him a lot. There's like another human. So they're only supposed to have one person per sector. Forget planet.
Yeah.
There's 4 from the planet Earth, of course.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, maybe if we have 4, one of them won't be god awful.
Yeah, I think Ryan got a bad rap in it. I
don't think any of that.
He took some heat on that.
And you know, what he did in Deadpool 2 was funny. How he kind of erased
poked
those
fun
from
at it,
existence,
yeah.
which is
reading the
why I
script.
like those Deadpool movies. But yeah, I feel like that's one of the movies where it's like people think it's like a 3, and I think it's probably like a 4.5.
What about movies that people think are like a 9 and you think are like a 5 or 6?
I don't know if I would say
Black
that low.
Panther.
Yeah, that's really the first thing that came to my mind, and I don't even think people think it's a 9. I think people think it's a 10. And I think it's probably like a 7 or an 8.
I'd give it a 7.
Yeah, I think it's a very
6.
good movie. There's a lot of action in it. The technology is very cool.
It just didn't like hold my interest. I
Yeah,
don't know.
well, honestly, it was The Lion King.
Yeah,
It was
seen it before.
it was The Lion King for me.
Mufasa.
Yeah. That the guy who played his father, I don't know if he had a stroke or whatever, but his eye was like down to his chin. I was very uncomfortable. I was like, is it supposed to be that low? I was like, I feel bad about this, but yeah, it was.
You know, I got to take it back again. Can I take it back again?
What?
Rocketeer.
Do you remember the comic books though?
I do. I remember the comic books, but I didn't. I've read a couple of them, but much
I
later.
really liked the Shadow too, but I never read
Much-
the comic books.
Oh,
for
see,
the
I
Shadow.
read the comic books, but I didn't.
Now,
You
don't
didn't
be
read the comic
confused.
books in the 30s.
Jim is adding a Rocketeer to his favorite list.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, but you got to remember, like your favorite list should be like a movie that you think is like an 8 or a 9
Gotcha.
or better. Like Rocketeer, like I really
flying.
like
Like Thor,
I really like
but it's not like a.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Okay, all right.
like Rocketeer. I love that movie. And what was the other one? The Shadow. I love that movie. It's like that's the Shadows were actually probably a little closer. That might be an 8 for me. I'll be honest. With
Really?
you. Yeah, but I don't know anything about the comic book, so like I
interesting.
couldn't really like, justify like
That's
that
true,
as an adaptation.
All right, moving on.
I thought of the Shadow and the Phantom, but I don't know the comics, so I can't compare them.
The Phantom's another movie.
Phantom.
Where people like hate that movie, and I was like, I actually kind of like that.
That was a good movie.
But I never read the comic, so
Poor Billy Zane. I think that ruined his career.
That didn't go anywhere. Yeah.
People weren't ready for it back then.
Interesting. Yeah, Black Panther. Anything else?
I'm going to say Dark Knight.
I can see
one
that.
that you hate.
I don't hate it. People love it. Think it's the best, one of the best superhero movies ever. I think it's like a 6.
Which one?
The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger was great. I think that if he didn't die, they wouldn't be as.
No, there's a lot of justifications to that. Like, listen, if people are saying that movie's like a 10, I think best case situation, you're probably right. I think best case situation is probably like a 7 or an 8. I can see it being an 8 because it was really cool. And it was kind of different from what we were getting at the time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely not a 10. It definitely wasn't a perfect movie. Mm-hmm. And you know what, Christian Bale, I like him. Like, but you have no Batcave. Like he's like kind of living out of like, you know, like a storage container, kind of like Batman.
Giant white room.
Yeah, it was just okay. It was a little bit better than okay. I honestly,
it was good. For
my
sure,
biggest problem with that was probably Two-Face. I think they could have done without that whole like.
What's the girl's name?
Oh, I hate her too. Maggie
Gyllenhaal.
The actress?
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Couldn't stand
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
She's terrible. And she's very weird looking too. I was like, listen, I shouldn't be like, I'm going to judge people. I don't care. If people want to judge me, I'm open to that too. She looks like she's weird looking. Like I would probably sleep with her brother before I'd sleep with her.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oh, but she wasn't the first. Was she the first one? Because
no, it was Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes was the first one.
And people were like saying that she did a terrible job. It's like I think she did.
I think
I would have preferred.
I think she better.
I think she did a better job.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think Maggie Gyllenhaal did such an amazing job that she was so much better than Katie Holmes. Katie Holmes is fine. I was like, no, she's not an Academy Award-winning actress. She probably never will be. She's like a pretty girl who's an okay actress. That's what you need for that role.
Yeah. I just recently saw it because it's not even on the DC universe. The third one with Bane, and for the longest, I've only seen that once, and for the longest time I was like, I want to see this again. I want to see it again. I want to see it again. And unfortunately, I found it in part
I've
of
only
my
seen it
files.
once, and I remember not hating it.
Yeah, I just recently saw it like a week or two ago. I rewatched it. I enjoyed it the second time. I didn't have much memory on it the first time. But watching it the second time, it was okay. It was nice to see the
I really like
character
Batman
Bane.
Begins.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that movie too. Again, it's probably slightly lower than Dark Knight for me, but I think it's maybe like a 7, 6 or 7. I would say a 7. Mm-hmm. It's I feel like people gave him a lot of crap for like the Bane. Like I thought he was a pretty good Bane. Like I mean, the thing that stinks is again like you're not going true to character. There's no like venom that's making him stronger and bigger. He's just like a big like they went very realistic. Like I feel like his whole adaptation like. Who did those again? It was Nolan.
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. He was like, listen, like I'm not making up all this made up crazy nonsense. He's just gonna be a really strong fight guy. Batman's a rich guy. Catwoman, she's just acrobatic. Like no one has like extraordinary powers. Like you don't see anyone in those movies that are like extraordinary people. There's no real like metahumans that arise from those. Everything's based in reality, which, it's okay for Batman. Like he can get away with that a little bit, but some of it isn't really based in reality. There are metahumans that exist, and like that was the thing that was kind of missing the link from the rest of the DC universe. I think in those movies.
I think you're right. All right. So does anybody have any pet peeves they want to talk about?
I feel like I've briefly kind of already touched on mine. It's when they're not true to character, that like really bugs me out. Like we mentioned how they made these clouds. For like Parallax and Galactus. Like I think I was playing like Marvel Ultimate Alliance like around the time like that second the Silver Surfer Fantastic Four movie came out.
The Silver Surfer.
Yeah. And I was like, it's cool. You're gonna be able to see Galactus. I heard he's gonna be in this movie. And then he's like, wait, where is he? I was like, I see the Silver Surfer, but then I just see this like weird cloud thing with a mouth.
Yeah.
So like that's like listen, like I understand like kind of updating storylines for the times, and even like if you do want to change like there's so much thing about like they want to make more diversity in these characters, and I was like yeah, all right, that's fine, but like, you know, you have to do it the right way. You know, it's got to be like a character that isn't already established. And that even reading the comic books, that's the biggest problem. It's like, oh, well, nobody wants to read like a black Iron Man. Still, a black girl being Iron Man. I was like, no, nobody wants to read a black girl being Iron Man because Tony Stark is Iron Man.
Right.
If you want to like, you can't replace existing characters with new characters. If you want to create them, I'm all for creating more diverse characters. Just create them on their own. You know, they want to, you know, piggyback on an established character, and what's going to happen? Like the people who read that is like, oh, well, I'm in this because of this established character, and I'm no longer going to read it now because it's no longer this person. It doesn't matter what race you make the person. If they're like, oh, all of a sudden now Captain America is going to be Bucky, I was like, I'm probably not going to read. Like I didn't read that series. It's like once Bucky became Captain America, I was like, I don't really care so much.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, he's a white guy, another white guy replacing a white guy. I was like, you know, it has nothing to do with race. It's like, you know, I like, you know, I'm all for, you know, adding like more diversity. Like if he wants to be like another character, like Winter Soldier is great on his own. Like let him be Winter Soldier. I'm more likely to read a book about the Winter Soldier than, you know, Bucky Barnes playing Captain America. It's like that's, you know, that's one of the things that I'm not crazy about. And you know, with the diversity thing too, that what bothers me a little bit about is like obviously you would never have like a white character play like a Luke Cage or a Black Panther. Like, you know, there's no way that would fit. Mm-hmm. But you could easily have like a white character play like Falcon. Like there's nothing distinctively about Falcon that makes him black. But if that were to happen, people would lose their shit.
Right.
But when they do that, you know, it's definitely a little bit of reverse racism, which, you know, in the sensitive time we live in, I kind of get.
Yeah.
But you know, I'd like it to be, you know, create more. I think they need to create more new characters. This way, you know, you can have, you know, your character and this other diverse character, but, you know, you're kind of like broadening it. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, Black Panther's a great example. Like, bring Black Panther, and he is black. I was like, don't make, like, Johnny Storm black. I was like, why don't you just make a Black Panther movie? Like, this guy's already black. Make a Luke Cage movie. He's already black. I mean, I really enjoyed the Luke Cage series. I know it was just canceled, and it's only because Disney Plus is taking over all those, and they're keeping it secret right now, which is whether it's true or not. It's like, oh, yeah, these are going to be canceled. It's like, if they wouldn't have canceled Daredevil, I would have said, all right, maybe they're not taking these over. It's like, the fact that they canceled Daredevil, too, is like, they're definitely moving over to a new platform. And it's going to be all the same people, too, guaranteed. Hopefully they change Jessica Jones, though, because she's terrible. Right. But, yeah, those are my pet peeves.
One of mine is, and this kind of, I realized this watching a movie that I know you love, is... when action sequences are too overdone and go on for way too long.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And my example of that is Man of Steel. And that's a big reason why I don't love Man of Steel.
Well,
I felt like that whole last half hour just dragged.
That's my least favorite part of the movie. That's why that movie's probably... So I actually thought about that in one of my favorites. And the reason it wasn't in there is because it's only 3/4 of a good movie. Mm-hmm. I think once him and Zod... take off and have that big fight, and like the whole fact that they destroy that whole city is like that's one of the things where it's like that's not Superman. Superman would have not let that level of devastation happen.
No,
and that's
he would have taken him outside the city.
Obviously, Bruce Wayne's going to be upset in that, and Batman versus Superman is like, but for that clear reason, like Superman's going to be like, I need to get this guy out of here. We'll need to go in like the moon or something like that. Like Superman would have saved the people. Like just think about Superman 2. He flies away because those guys start hurting the people because he realizes like. You know, Zod realized, oh, he cares about the people. Right. Like, that's the whole point of that movie. Like, he doesn't want innocent people to get hurt. And they killed probably millions of people in that scene. Right. I was like, I can't with that. Like, that was like, and the fact that he killed Zod is like, you know, like, I can handle that a little bit more than the whole, the city thing. But, like, he still wouldn't have done that either. And that's why, you know, that's, like, the action scene is way too long. Mm-hmm. Just granted, but... Sorry, another tangent.
No, that's totally one of my things that annoys the hell out of me.
So, what is it specifically that bothers you?
Just when I'm sitting there for okay, I remember this specifically. I thought that sequence was over like 3 times, and then it kept on going for another 10 minutes with another fight somewhere else with somebody else.
It's like they're adding. You know? It's like just to add to the movie.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, it was
like it easily could have ended much.
And I think, go ahead.
And I'm going to go the reverse on that. Even the start of that movie kind of bothered me because it felt like it dragged being on Krypton. That whole part seemed like it was awful. It was too long, in my opinion.
I like that part better but it was long, and a lot of I feel like your point I hear a lot more than Matt's.
Right.
Is that whole like Krypton scene was really long, and they didn't get. I think the problem was the reason that you had that long scene is they probably paid Russell Crowe a good amount of money.
Absolutely.
And they're like, well, we want to get our money's worth here.
100%.
One of the main things I do like so much about those movies is Russell Crowe and Kevin Costner. Like Russell Crowe and Kevin Costner in those movies, I felt were fantastic. People might not think the same way, but I think all their interactions with Superman were really good. I mean, the one thing that stands out to me about Man of Steel specifically is that scene where he's trying to fly, and like as I'm talking about right now, I'm getting goosebumps because every time I watch it, I get goosebumps. And he's like, they will, you can be like their beacon of hope. They will rise to you. They will. I don't want to discredit the scene because I can't remember it word for word. But he's like, they will join you in like the sun or something like that. And then he finally figures it out and he flies. Like that scene is just like so powerful for me. And one of the main reasons that I do like that movie more than maybe most people do. But yeah, there's a lot of holes in that, and that's like why it's not in my favorite movie category.
To keep on the Superman into that Superman area, the one movie, what is it, Returns, he's now got a kid. I mean, that was, they don't stick true to, so we got all these Superman movies out, and it just feels like there's this part, there's that part,
now.
There's this part.
He does have a kid.
Which is true to the story now. But,
right,
yeah.
right. But back then, it wasn't at that time. But, my big pet peeve is, we've got all these movies. Just same thing with the Batmans. We've got all these sets of Batman's movies, and none of them are all the same. They're all different, but there's no continuity to them.
Well, with that movie specifically, I think it was supposed to be a direct sequel to Superman 2. Okay. So I think when that came out, they're like, 3 and 4 never existed, Superman 2, and then this happened. Like that was supposed to be like Superman 2.5 or something like that. But, I mean, even with that movie, I thought that guy was a fantastic Clark Kent.
Yes.
He's on, I can't think of his name right now. I know he's on Legends of Tomorrow, which is
Brandon something?
Brandon Routh.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's a show on television, all right, and I watch it just because I'm a jerk. But
we'll get into TV shows in another episode.
Yeah. But I think he did a great job as Clark Kent. I think he was trying to emulate Christopher Reeve. That's why he did well. As Superman, not great.
Not great.
Lois Lane, not great.
Not great.
I don't know why the guy, James Marsden, who plays Cyclops, basically ruined his career as an X-Man by taking that weird role. But he didn't matter. I mean, the only thing that was really good about that, and I know he's going to be in prison pretty soon, is Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the one shining moment, and Ralph's performance as Clark Kent, which were like okay for me. Otherwise, terrible movie. Probably the worst. I think that's probably worse than both 3 and 4. Bruce.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree with you because I haven't been able to sit through the entire movie myself. It's just.
Well, you probably have. You just fell asleep for like 2 hours.
No, I actually found myself changing the channel. It's just
understandably so.
It's like okay, it's like I can't do this anymore, and I just flip on to something else, and I don't know.
Okay.
Anybody? Do you have any specific peeves?
Nope.
No, you like everything.
Mostly
everything.
No,
everything
I think pretty much hit on the same points that I had.
Yeah,
I think we all, we've already gone through this today with it all. It's funny we're at the tail end of all this, and I guess none of us has seen Venom, the new one. So
nope.
All right.
No.
And I guess we won't be.
You guys let us know how.
Yeah, maybe some kind of comments, what people think of that.
Let us know what you think about
Listen,
Venom.
So we don't have to
I'll see it once
Should-
it's for free. I
won't pay money
give it
to
a
see
chance
it.
to watch it. But they made enough money now, so it doesn't even matter because they're gonna make another. They've already decided they're gonna make another one. So my master plan of not going to see it and thinking no one else would do the same thing
Kind of
didn't
fell
work.
through the holes.
So what was our next talking point here, Matt?
So do you guys, if you could pick one story, comic book story, that either hasn't been adapted yet into film or has been adapted not to your liking and that you would like redone, what would you pick?
Batman Hush. I'd love
That's a good one.
I would love to see a movie
pick.
of that.
I didn't even think of that.
That's a really good one.
That's a
I
great
mean,
pick.
huge. I would love to see that. Originally, I would, before it came out on animation, I'd love to see it a Killing Joke.
That was horrible.
It's been done. Yeah, it's been done on an animation. I don't want to see it now.
You see, I feel like that would be a better one to do a movie of
Yes.
than the Hush. I feel like Hush would be great if they did like a Netflix series because I feel like Hush is so long that
is
like
long.
a single movie wouldn't do it justice. I think
Agreed.
if they did like a whole season of like, if they actually just bite the bullet and be like, hey, why don't we just make a Batman TV show and make it awesome?
Yeah.
And like then they could do like a Hush season and that would be incredible.
I would love to see that on a screen. Hush, big time. That's mine.
My pick would be Superior Spider-Man.
Ooh, that's fantastic. And you know what? They'll never do that.
They would
You know what's
never,
going to
but I
happen?
would
It's going to be a cartoon because Sony realized, hey, we can make millions of dollars and just draw this.
I mean, look at the new. I mean, look at the
Like,
Spider-Verse.
I don't know. I have no idea how.
I've
how
heard
much
that's
money-
amazing.
I haven't seen it yet.
I have to go see it.
Yeah, I heard it. I want to see
I read
that,
the
too.
storyline. I'm good. That was actually a great comic book series, the Spider Verse. I thought
Yes.
at least not as good as Superior Spider Man though. Bruce, you have a good
Yeah, I have one that I like to see them redone. And I don't like remakes, but I liked it a little, and it really wasn't a great movie, but it was Red Sonja with Brigitte Nielsen.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them redo that, but keep it true to the story instead of what they used before. And even though they had Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, who we all knew was actually supposed to be Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, some type of contract dispute happened for that.
They used a different name for it, so it had two great comic book characters in it. The story was subpar. The acting, Brigitte Nielsen, I don't think she's such a great actress in my opinion.
What?
Yeah,
She loves
it should be
Flavor of
redone.
Love, though.
She was back then.
I felt like they tried to. I mean, because they did that remake of Conan, and I don't think it did very well. Do you
No,
remember?
it's
do you
Jason
remember
Momoa was
seeing?
Conan.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. I feel I find it hard to believe that they would actually do another Red Sonja. I don't know.
So, what I think is recently happening, I think as of this coming Wednesday, Conan is relaunching again under Marvel.
Really? Oh, that's
So
right.
I don't know if that means that Disney has rights to make those movies now. Maybe that's why the Conan. Because I had originally heard that there was going to be another King Conan movie with like Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, and I don't know what the status of that is. But if Disney has their hands on it now, maybe it could be a reality.
Oh, that's
maybe we could
interesting.
see more.
Yeah, maybe they're finally going to finish that trilogy.
Yeah.
Did we see anything that says Disney bought it out, or I mean, who owns it
All
now?
I know
It's
is
on Marvel.
All I know is it's part of Marvel in terms of comic books now. I don't know if there's a different set of rights for
Interesting.
the movie.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to cheat and take two adaptations, and both of them have already been done. The one that I really would like to see done well, and I've touched upon this already, is the Death of Superman. I mean, Batman versus Superman. Again,
You want it done right.
Yeah, it's just a hodgepodge of like 17 different movies. Like, I want this to be like the graphic novel Death of Superman. Like, really show like the origin of Doomsday, that whole battle scene. I want all the heroes around getting their butt kicked. Like, basically everyone but Superman from Justice League come out and try to stop Doomsday, and he just crushes them. And it was just like reading that. I've actually read the actual novelization of the Death of Superman as well, which is amazing. And I've read the graphic novels, and I'd really like to see that in movie form. The other one I would really like to see, and I do like the Civil War movie that they made. It wasn't
It's not
an
Civil War.
adaptation of like the story that we know. Yeah, Cap and Iron Man were basically at ends for a similar reason to this. But if they can do that actual storyline, that's like one of the main, probably one of the first full storylines I've ever read from a Marvel comic book before I really even did the deep dive on all the Spider-Man books. And I read that, and I was like, wow, this was great. And I had even played it in like Ultimate Alliance. Like Ultimate Alliance did like a version of like that too, where it's like, oh, and you got to the point like, oh, you're gonna go Iron Man, you're gonna go Cap, like that was cool. But yeah, like I would love to see those two two storylines really given its full justice. And listen, even if you can't do it at the the big screen levels, like you have all this Netflix, DC streaming services. Do it right that way. I was like, if you can't get Henry Cavill to do the story, it's like you don't have to. I was like, Marvel has all this continuity of everything together. I was like, DC doesn't. I was like, so why not just have all these different versions of it? It doesn't matter at this point.
Right.
I mean, if Marvel wants to do that too, why don't they do it? It's like they're basically trying to break off their TV stuff from their movie stuff anyway. I mean, I would love if they could have like some link to like the Netflix series guys in the movies. Just like, if they could in like an Avengers movie, just show a clip of them in like Hell's Kitchen, like fighting like some aliens or whatever like that. Like they don't have to meet up with the other characters, just be in their own thing. Like,
and I've kind of said that same thing on the TV side. Like show Cap in a background on Daredevil or something.
Yeah.
Like want to bring some of this stuff into the TV shows. Crazy.
I got one more I want to add, and it's going with Jim had Hush. I was like, I like to see the Court of Owls storyline from Batman.
I didn't even think of that. That's a good one.
I thought that was phenomenal,
Talent.
and I would love to see that in a movie form.
I can see that one happen.
Yeah,
Definitely could see that happening. That would be good. That would be definitely
I'd be very excited for that.
good stuff.
A lot of good stuff
Especially
they
if
could
Scott Snyder has his way.
There's so much good stuff they could do. I just hope they take advantage.
Well, that's the thing too. It's like that they like to take the idea of the storylines,
And
but then they
change
don't.
it.
Yeah,
Like instead of doing either something completely original or something completely true to form, they try
like
and
to take
mix
the worst of both worlds.
Yeah, essentially.
Like, hey, do you know the saying is the best of both worlds? Like, no, we're not gonna do that.
All right, so do we want to touch on the DC Universe app a little bit before we go? Because we had mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, let's talk about it. I think we've probably mentioned it a few times. I don't think we've done like a true justice, like kind of like review of it.
So if you guys don't know, DC Universe is it's kind of like Marvel Unlimited in that they're trying to go for an all-access pass to DC's content. But here you could also watch DC movies, DC TV shows,
The
animations, in addition to reading the comics.
And not just, they're doing their own, like, created, new, what's the word?
Their own content, TV-wise.
They're doing their own creations.
Original series.
Yeah, original content
Right.
is the word I was looking for.
Yeah,
but
so
you
like
can
Titans and
see
stuff.
that, yeah. But also, like, I'm, like, binging Lois and Clark right now. I've watched, like, 12 episodes of that. And it's, like, it's cheesy, but, there's, like, so much older content on there.
It's great.
There's a lot of good film and
Movies,
movie
too.
TV content.
Yeah,
I
and even the older stuff is cool. I've never seen the Birds of Prey. I mean, I didn't even hear about it until I saw the DC app, and I'm like, what is this? And
Yeah.
Granted, it only lasted a season.
Yeah, that's why no one heard about it.
I still haven't seen it yet, but the older stuff is great to watch.
I think the like entertainment stuff, like the film, the movies, the cartoons they have on there is a positive.
So far, everything I've wanted to watch has been on there.
Yeah.
The comic selection, though.
Except the Dark Knight 3 with Bane is not on there. Which I don't understand why it's not on there.
So the other two are on there?
Yeah,
That's
it's weird. The other two there, but the third is not.
Somebody didn't sign the contract to allow it.
Must have been.
It was definitely Maggie Gyllenhaal. She's not in that.
So I took one scroll through the comic list, and I was like, "Is this a sick joke?"
It's tough. 'Cause-
There's like one issue, the first issue of many series there.
yeah, it's got holes upon holes
Oh my
upon
God.
holes, and I hope they fix it soon.
For $80 a year or whatever it is.
Yeah,
That's
75.
That's a lot of money to
It's-
watch Titans.
It's
for less you get every Marvel comic
you
ever.
brought that up. I'm not sure if you guys read, but as of yesterday, it looks like Titans is going to be on Netflix International. So if you are outside
January.
if you are outside the U.S., you'll be able to watch
So
Titans
it's only international?
only international.
They do that with a lot of stuff though. That's not
it's
on Netflix
because they're not
US.
getting the views that they thought they were going to get. So that's why they're pushing it out.
which is like a slap in the face to all of us who bought it just to watch that.
Well, we live in the States, so we were
Yep.
going to have to buy it anyway.
Yep,
But the comic content,
they got to get their game together with that.
So did you guys get... So they actually sent out a survey.
I
Did
know
you guys get
tore
an
the
email
website,
for that?
right?
I didn't get that.
So I got an email about doing a survey on what I thought of the service, and it wasn't. I didn't tear them apart, but I was honest. I was like, "Listen, the entertainment stuff was great. I think Titans is really good. I hadn't finished it yet. I have now. We should talk about that quickly. But I want to read all of Superman. I want to read all of Batman, and I've done that and I name drop Marvel Unlimited. It was like they know that exists. The reason they created this is because Marvel Unlimited did that, and there's maybe like 25 Superman books on there.
Yeah,
25 Action comic books. It's like they're up to 1,000. That's a lot of missing books.
it really is.
It's like, listen, and if even I can't start from the beginning, all right, let me start from like the 60s or 70s and straight through. I was like, I can't do any of that.
And you can't buy it even on their digital platform. They don't have that old stuff on there.
Yeah.
So you're missing.
I wonder if it's an issue with they don't have it. Like they don't have.
Listen, if they've got a digital version of Action Comics #1, they can get digital versions of number 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so on. I mean,
they'll probably have the excuses like, "Oh, well, we're working on it. It takes time." And
I think that's probably what it is. And they again, like their MO is they rushed this out there. They weren't completely ready with the comics, but they're like, hey, people won't notice because we'll put out a cool TV show. Which again, Titans was good. I really enjoyed it. The last episode was incredible.
I didn't see
that little teaser that they.
I heard about the teaser.
That'll definitely get me in for season 2. Mm-hmm. And anyone who knows anything about me knows what that teaser is going to be in relation to. But yeah, interesting. Overall, it's good. If they don't improve it, I don't know if I'm going to continue to do it though.
Yeah.
We got it for a year, no matter what.
It's a lot. I mean, I'll give them until next year.
Yeah. If they don't step up,
if they don't increase the comic selection exponentially, they better lower the price.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Lower the price.
Listen, if this is just going to be for movie content and original series, like
you're going to get to a point
where I pay $11 for Netflix. It's like I'll pay you guys $12 to $15 max.
Yeah,
because I know you're not as big as Netflix.
Right.
Now this is only a yearly subscription.
I think you can do a month.
They do month to month. I think it's like $8 a month.
Oh, okay.
So you save like $13.
Yeah, and then at the first year, the people that like pre-ordered it, they got a free extra. They got 3 extra months for free.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We got 15 months that we got when we signed up for $75. But yeah, they got to make a change to this.
I really hope they do because I want to read everything.
Right. Right. I'd love to read some of the old Aquaman. It just doesn't make sense.
That I don't know.
Come on. Except that we're going to skip over the 90s Aquaman. We're going to skip over the 90s.
There's no way they have that old Aquaman stuff.
Come on.
No one has that stuff.
But yeah, that's Marvel's kicking butt on the.
I read Marvel Unlimited almost every day. I think.
Yeah.
There's just anything that I want to read is there.
Yeah, I mean their library is incredible, and even the new stuff. Like, does DC have any new stuff? Like in the last 6 months, 7 months, 9 months?
No. It looks like they got the new 52 stuff. Yeah. That's the newest stuff.
Not even all of it.
And that not even 2 years ago.
Not even all of it. I think they have Batman #1. Which is ridiculous.
Hilarious. Yeah, I did see Batman #1. I didn't see it, so you couldn't even read the Court of Owls again if you wanted to.
I see that they've got the first few issues of Young Justice.
Mm-hmm. The animated stuff they actually have a lot of. Like I think they have all of Batman Adventures.
Again, it could be this weird thing with rights too, but that should all be theirs.
Yeah, makes sense.
You would think so.
Like it doesn't make any sense to me why they wouldn't have a full comic library. And honestly, if they want to I'll pay one price, but make it 2 separate apps if they need to.
Yeah,
if they need to make it 2 separate apps.
I'd rather just do the comic books. I don't need all that other. Yeah.
Is that all of Aquaman?
They've got the new 52 Aquaman. It's got issues 1 through 4.
Are you serious? That's not even the full story.
It's not.
First volume is 6.
1 through 4, and then they've got the Aquaman and the Others, which they've got the full set of 6 because that's all.
No, that was more than that. I read those terrible books. I randomly read those.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty.
I thought the Others were cool, and then they weren't.
Yeah, that seems very, very random.
Yeah, it really is.
First 4 issues of Aquaman, but they have the whole series of Aquaman and the Others.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
DC, step up your game.
Step it up.
End of story.
Don't worry. Anybody we see that works or is affiliated with DC, I will let you know it.
That's right.
DC, Zach's not involved.
Yeah,
Step up to the plate, man.
All right, thank you everybody for listening. And if you guys have any questions or comments, or you want to hit us with a list of your favorite movies, hit us up in the comments section below. And we should be back in about 2 weeks with a new episode. So until then, remember,
Don't feed the geeks!